So in today's text, in the beginning of this chapter, we have much the same story as we had last week about Jesus doing something on the Sabbath to cure somebody. And the Pharisees today don't give him a hard time. They just do not reply. They were silent, and they listened to Jesus talk about healing and taking care of others. And then Jesus goes on to give this story about places of honor in a feast. And so Jesus is talking about this notion that when you approach a feast, that you are not to assume that you are the most important person in the room, but you're to take a much more lower place and allow the person who's in charge to elevate your status. Now, it's a beautiful text, often taken out of context, but what Jesus is saying is that in the grand scheme of things with God, none of us is worthy to put ourselves at the top of the heap. None of us has the ability to tell God who should be seated first, second, or third. And we allow God, who is the host at this wonderful banquet of ours, this wonderful world, this wonderful life, to give freely in the way that God wants to give. And then to drive this home, Jesus goes on to say that when you give a banquet, invite the poor and the cripple and the lame and the blind, because that's what God does. God invites to his banquet of life, this beautiful world of ours and the beautiful kingdom of heaven, the blind and the lame and the crippled and the poor. And God elevates their status out of mercy and love. And we're called to do the same thing. And when we do, when we behave in the manner in which God behaves, when we mirror God's actions, then we are promised that God would reward in kind. This text is nothing short of saying that we are called to look at everyone in this world with the same eyes that God looks upon them. And although they may be poor and crippled and lame and blind, they are still God's children who are invited to this banquet. And who are we to judge them? Our humility allows us then to turn and see our poverty and our crippledness and our blindness and understand that all of us have issues and problems, and we're all still invited to God's banquet of love, God's beautiful creation and incredible salvation. Be like God and keep the doors wide open, and God will bring you into the banquet in his way through beautiful mercy and reward you with incredible justice. God bless.